Right. So get ready because today we're diving deep into something that I think a lot of people just take for granted.
All dogs can swim, right?
Yeah, that's actually what we're going to be talking about today. And guess what?
What?
That last one, not necessarily true.
It's a myth that we really need to bust.
We're going to bust this myth wide open using this fascinating article
Yes.
called Stop Thinking All Dogs Can Swim Naturally. Why?
I love that title. Just the title itself is like, whoa.
Right.
Wait a minute.
It makes you stop and think.
So, growing up, I think a lot of us, we see like those classic movies, right? You got the labs jumping off the dock,
Right into the lake.
fetching the tennis ball.
Yeah.
And it just seems so natural. You just kind of assume, well, all dogs must be able to do that.
Right? And they look so happy.
Right.
But it turns out there's a lot more to it.
There is, yeah. There's actually some, science and some
Right.
physiology involved here, and some breeds are just not built for it.
They're not. And some are, and we'll get into that.
Okay.
I think the article even goes as far as to say it could even be dangerous to assume that a dog can swim.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's a safety issue for sure.
So let's break this down.
Okay.
And let's talk about some of these breeds
Okay.
that may have some trouble in the water.
The smudged face dogs.
The smushed face
Okay.
dogs. So like your pugs,
Pugs, your bulldogs, French bulldogs,
Boston Terriers.
the Boston Terriers. Yeah, all those cute little guys.
So what is it about their build that makes it so difficult for them to swim?
Well, it really comes down to their facial structure. I mean, that's kind of the defining characteristic of a brachycephalic breed, right?
Right.
But that short snout, it actually shifts their center of gravity forward.
Okay.
So they're kind of like top heavy.
Oh, I see.
And that makes it really hard for them to keep their heads above water. So they're
Okay.
almost like, they're constantly fighting to stay afloat. They're more prone to tipping forward.
So it's not just about like, oh, they look cute and they're snorting a lot. Like there are actual
Yeah.
physical reasons why it's harder for them.
Yeah. There's a reason why you don't see like, a pug, winning the doggy paddle Olympics or something.
Right. Exactly. Okay. So we've got the brachycephalic breeds.
Yeah.
What about some other ones?
Well, there are also some breeds that are just, built a little bit differently body-wise that can make swimming tough.
Okay.
So you think about your basset hounds, your dachshunds, those dogs with those short little legs, and long bodies.
Right.
Those guys, they might love the water,
Yeah.
but they just don't have the physical structure to really be strong swimmers. I mean, those little legs, they're just not meant for powerful paddling.
Right. They're built for sniffing the ground.
They're built for sniffing the ground, exactly. And their bodies, they tend to be denser,
Uh-huh.
so they're not as buoyant.
I see.
So it's like, trying to swim with a weight belt on.
So it's like a double whammy.
Yeah, it's a double whammy, exactly.
So we've talked about the short snouts. We've talked about the short legs and long bodies.
Right.
The article also mentions some other factors.
Yes.
Like thick fur and lack of webbed feet.
Yeah.
Can you explain how those two things play into it?
Yeah, so thick fur, especially if it's not that water repellent kind of fur,
Yeah.
it can get really waterlogged
Uh.
and it can weigh a dog down. So imagine like, jumping in the pool with a heavy wool sweater.
Right.
That's kind of what it's like for them. And then the web feet, I mean, those are like, nature's built-in swim fins.
Right.
They help with propulsion in the water.
Yeah.
So breeds that don't have those webbed feet, they're kind of missing a key piece of swimming equipment.
Okay, so we've talked about all these different factors
Mm-hmm.
that can make it really difficult or even dangerous for
Right.
some dogs to swim. So if we know this
Yeah.
as responsible pet owners, what do we do with this information?
Well, I think the biggest thing is just ditch the assumption
Yeah.
that all dogs can swim,
Don't just assume.
right?
Right, right.
Know your breed, do a little research, understand their physical capabilities and limitations.
Yeah. And even within a breed,
Absolutely.
every dog is an individual.
Every dog's an individual, that's right.
So you might have one lab that's like, Michael Phelps.
Right.
And then you might have another lab that sinks like a stone.
Exactly. So,
Yeah.
so important to know your dog. And then, when you're introducing them to water, do it gradually.
Right.
No tossing them in the deep end.
Yeah, no sink or swim here.
Exactly. Nice and slow, positive reinforcement, lots of praise, make it fun.
Make it fun. And I think this is a good place to talk about life jackets.
Yes. Life jackets are so important.
So
They're
important.
not just for dogs that can't swim.
Yeah.
They're for, any dog.
Extra safety measure.
Extra layer of safety, especially if you're going to be, out on a boat or in a lake or anything like that. It's just peace of mind.
It's just peace of mind.
Yeah. And you know what? It's kind of like, teaching a kid to swim.
Right.
You wouldn't just throw them in and say, all right, figure it out,
Uh-huh.
You would be there, you'd have their floaties, you'd be encouraging them. It's the same idea with our dogs.
Right. So patience, support, and taking those safety precautions.
Absolutely.
Really important for our furry friends.
They depend on us.
So as we wrap things up, I want to leave you with one final thought.
Okay.
Knowing what we know now about how not all dogs are natural swimmers, what can we do to spread the word? How can we bust this myth? It's more than just a fun fact. It's about keeping our furry friends safe. So think about it, talk about it, share this information. It could make a real difference.
I think that's a great point to end on.
Thanks for joining us for another deep dive. We'll see you next time.
See you next time.
Bye.